Hello, this is Storm Warden with you all today. I'm located out of the Triangle area of the North Carolina region, and I am a student aspiring to be a meteorologist. And I want to give you guys weather forecasts, predictions, and keep you guys up to date with any possible big storms that may be trying to come to the Carolinas or anywhere across the country. So please subscribe if you like my weather content. So I want to start off by giving you guys an overview of today. Um, we're seeing high level cirrus clouds today with dew points in the lower 50s to temperatures hovering right around the 78, 75 part. So we've been actually seeing a nice stretch of weather. Actually had a cold front that moved through a couple days back. So that has given us this very nice stretch of weather that will continue into the early part of next week until we start to get back into the 90s and dew points start to creep back up, which will allow humidity to go back up. So those be some things to watch out for in the short term here in the Carolinas. So today's video is going to be about tropics. So you may wonder what has happened. We were forecasted to see a record-breaking season or whatever you may have seen, and it's just been really quiet. Well, I'm here to give you some honest meteorology today and my thoughts and what I think will happen for the rest of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. So, I'm going to start off with our relative humidity. So, what's been the reason why it's been so quiet? Well, let me back this up for you here a little bit. We've seen tons and tons of dry air out here in the Atlantic. We have continuously seen dry air intrusions, like this one located right here, and this is continuing to just put a dent in any type of development known as our main development region, the MDR. It has just put a dent in the MDR. So we haven't really seen any development. So you may ask, so like, will this continue? Like, will we continue to keep seeing dry air for the rest of this season? Well, we will see dry air, but I do think things will get active, especially as we approach the last week of August going into September. But another thing that's also kept our storms in check out here in the Atlantic is the fact that we have storms moving at a far north latitude. They have come off the coast of Africa, but they'll come off the very far northern part of Africa, which is a cooler part of water located right about here, which is let me get my writer out, my pen, located right here. There's an area of cooler water somewhere up in here in the northern part of Africa. And these storms and hurricanes don't like cooler water. They like all the warm water they can get. This one hasn't had that. So, will things get favorable again? Well, in my opinion, yes. As we enter the last week of August, going into September, things will get active. Starting from the 25th, which is this week, we can run through this GFS ensemble member, which the GFS ensemble members make up a bunch of model runs, and we call them ensembles. Ensembles are the best tools to use when looking at long range forecasting, such as the tropics. I'm not here to give you any clickbait, none of that. I just want to give you some honest meteorological prediction on what I might think may happen here in the next few months or so with our hurricane season. So as we go through time, notice how you start to see a little bit of an uptick, and what you want to look out for are any of these brighter colors, and you want to look out for a lot of them, because what this indicates is that, hey, things are getting active. You may have storms to watch out for. Those are things that you want to look out for. So as we go towards the last few days of August going into September, that's when I think things will get active and we'll have to put our eyes back on the Atlantic. One, It looks like you have storms coming off at a much further south latitude, as you can see with some of these ensemble members, which there's warmer water down here in this region, in this part of the Atlantic. Also, dry air will probably start to dissipate somewhat around this time period, which will also allow storms to get further west and to actually build some substance. Because this part of the Atlantic, let me erase this for you, the western part of the Atlantic is quite favorable right now. And I want to note, this entire area of the Atlantic right now has a very favorable background state. We've just been seeing dry air intrusions, which I put a really big dent in our hurricane season. So I've already seen some people saying that this hurricane season was a bust and we were over prepared. I want to let you know that it's only August 23rd. We still have a long way to go for hurricane season. Peak hurricane season isn't until September 20th. So that's the most favorable period in the Atlantic hurricane season. It's only August 23rd. We still have a long way to go. As we approach the last week of August going into September, that's my thought right there, that we will get active and we will have storms out here to watch. So I want to give you another look at another model, which has the same general line of thinking as me. EPS ensembles. Generally, as we move towards the end of this month, towards September, we will have an increase in activity out here in the Atlantic. And these are the storms you're going to watch out for. But also going to watch out, do you have a big high pressure that wants to form out here to allow or to give any threat to the Carolinas? We've had some really decent troughs, which trough means cold front. That's a term for that, cold front. We had a lot of cold fronts that have been able to get pretty far south for middle of August. Will that continue? Because if that does continue, that will actually help keep our threat of any tropical cyclones actually reaching the eastern seaboard. Because whenever you have troughing over the east, and like we've had over the past few weeks, typically that keeps any tropical activity away from the eastern seaboard. Now, that isn't to say that you can't have a few sneaky systems that won't track into the Gulf of Mexico, which the Gulf of Mexico right now is a bathtub. I mean, the temperatures over the Gulf of Mexico are extremely warm and favorable. Any system that gets over here in the Gulf Coast could literally explode. But as of now, there is no tropical activity expected in the next 7 days. So there's nothing to worry about if you're along the Gulf Coast. However, as I stated before, I do think we will have more active weather again. I don't think this quiet period will last much longer. I think as we enter the last week of August, going into September, we will have a much more favorable atmosphere over the Atlantic, which will start to give all us meteorologists something to talk about, because we've had a pretty nice stretch of quiet weather since Debbie has left us, a few weeks back. So keep an eye on the Atlantic. But for now, right now, there's no tropical cyclone activity expected over the next 7 days. So my thoughts, right now, we're still seeing dry air intrusions, but we'll have to wait and see what happens as we approach the late part of August going into September. Because as we approach that time period, we will start to see, number one, you can already see how it looks like there's a little bit more moisture over the Atlantic compared to currently, which should help us get into a much more favorable environment for tropical cyclone activity. So as of now, we are all quiet out there, but don't let your guard down. Continue to make sure all your hurricane plans are up to date, because it's only August 23rd and we still have a long way to go. So If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll be back at you with another video.